Okay, so thank you everyone for being on this webinar. So as you're aware, we launched a couple of weeks ago a series of 6 webinars where we're showing how your company can automate the entire printing process. So from the order to basically to the delivery. So my name is Serge Klos, and I hope I can't see my screen anymore, but I hope my you can still see my display. I just perfect. So, and I am the product manager here at Durst for Software and Solution. And together with Randy here, we will show you step by step actually how Durst Workflow can manage your company's processes from pixel to actually to the output. So since I'm a little bit blind, I hope it's still okay. Well, so far in this series, we've shown how orders can be created in SmartShop, which is our e-commerce solution, and go directly into Lift ERP, which controls your entire printing business. So we also demonstrated how to digitize the sales process last time using Durst SmartShop again, but also Durst Workflow, our prepress and production solution. In today's sessions, we will be doing an in-depth exploration of how Durst Workflow can automate pre-press production for your printing facility. So we will look at a file coming from a customer, a typical file, very poor shape, a file that is far actually from being ready to be printable. And thanks to Durst Workflow, we will show you how a process that would be very labor intensive can be fully automated. So the power of workflow lies basically or mostly in its fix-ups chains. This is something Randy is going to show you. These routines are extremely powerful and very easy for everyone to configure. And that's the key also in Durst Workflow. You don't need to have a lot of experience, a lot of expertise to be able to configure that solution. So with that, I will let Randy show you how this is working. Thank you, Randy.
Okay, and thank you, Serge. I want to again say how much I appreciate everyone taking time out of their day. I know it's, we consider it only a half hour, but in a printing company, that can seem like so much because you're so busy, you're trying to get work out the door. We're going to show you how with their software, you can get that work out the door even more quickly. So we had, as Serge had mentioned, we had started a couple weeks ago. We had gone into our e-commerce platform, that is SmartShop. And SmartShop is a full e-commerce system. However, it also allows your customers to design and create artwork very easily. So here, we are going to create a retractable banner stand. We have the ability as the customer to use Adobe stock. We have white branded stock that's your own images, patterns, pick a color, or we can simply upload a file that we already have. So we will do that here. Again, once this file is uploaded, we can do all kinds of things. We can add shapes, we can add additional images, add text, add QR codes, which is really nice. Those are incredibly popular with signage. Remove backgrounds. On this one, we're just going to place the, place the image. And we'll go full size. We can see, look, here it is. The quality is good. Let's add that to the cart. It will show you exactly what you are going to get as a customer. We can place the order then. The order can then be handed off to our ERP system, and that is Lift ERP. Lift handles every aspect of your printing company, every aspect from orders to production to every step. So if we were to look at a job in Lift, we see we have all the information that is needed. Here's the file. What is the height? What's the width? What's the total square meters, square footage, price? What type of material is this being printed on? Where is it printing to? Or excuse me, where is it shipping to? Again, Lift fully integrated shipping systems, so you don't have to leave this system to get jobs out the door. We also have the ability, and we showed this, where we went from a job from Smart Shop and it went directly to Durst Workflow. And Durst Workflow is our RIP, browser-based RIP. And here we can see what did this file look like once it came here from Smart Shop. But it doesn't have to come from Smart Shop. It can come from Lyft, it can come from customers. And that's what I want to talk about today is customer files. The true magic is, as Serge had pointed out, of Workflow Plus, is the ability to take files and manipulate them, automate them, change them as we need for our output. It's great that a customer sends in a file, but most of the time those are not ready. So many times companies will have a full team that is doing nothing but trying to catch errors on customer files. So let's take a look at a customer file. Typical customer file. I'm going to switch over to Illustrator here, and we're going to open up a customer file. The Prepress people out there will probably be really into this because you're going to see a lot of errors that are very common errors where customers will submit files. Then this looks great to them. Look how beautiful this is. It's very colorful. Everything looks good. It should be great for print output. However, if we zoom in on this and we look a little closer at it, we see that they have not given us any bleed. They haven't really given us a proper cut path. The file is not what it needs to be. It may look good to the designer. However, whenever we are taking a look at it from a print production standpoint, it has problems. If I tried to print this, this would be problematic because it doesn't have bleed, it doesn't have cuts. They have added a blurb down here that is great and tells you all kinds of information, but it's not information that we're going to print. So that's an issue too. Further, if we take a look at this, we can see that they have made a kind of a big issue is they have not converted these fonts to outlines. What if we don't have that font as a printing house? You're going to have to go back to the customer and say, hey, we need to have this resolved. We'll look a little closer still. We take a look at this black text, and you're looking at it and saying, it's black text. Big, great, it's going to print black. But as we look and see what they have done, they have actually created this as what we call a pure black. So it is 100% black, but it has no yellow, magenta, or cyan. As a printing facility, you would always want to have that converted automatically to a rich black to where you're getting a little bit of extra ink on top so that it may hide any imperfections in the black. We see that on the Buy More Now. If we go down a next step, let's see how they did this black. Oh no, they have done this black completely differently than the black above. They have done this as what we call a registration black. So it's laying down as much ink as the printer can possibly lay down to create this black. That would not be correct either. Again, a lot of this stuff is stuff we have people looking at and trying to catch this on every customer file that comes through. They had also created a spot color. They just called it violet, but it's not a PMS color. It's just violet. Some mix that they decided should be called violet. For this customer, we know that they're looking for this to be a true PMS violet. So this file has a lot of issues with it. So let's take, if we were currently how most companies do it, you would go in and you would correct all these things manually. It takes time, it takes labor. Instead, let's take a look at it in Durst Workflow Plus. So we will go into our articles and we are just going to upload this. I'm going to upload this, but it's not something where you have to manually do this. There are ways to automate it. and files just flow indirectly. So we showed before, if a file comes in from Der Smart Shop into Workflow Plus, it just automatically flows in. If it comes in from Lift, it can automatically flow in. So it's not something we have to do a manual process to upload files. I'm just doing that for the demo today. So again, we're going to take a look at this file, and we see, again, this information down here is there. They have created some crop marks, but that's not really going to get us where we need to be. They don't have any bleed on this. And if we look at this, I had mentioned those blacks and how they're set up a little differently. If we were to zoom in on this, we can see even on the screen display, it's not the highest res, but it will show you, this is going to print a completely different black than this. And why is that? Because this was a pure black, this was a registration black. Of course, whenever we're outputting a job, we want it to just look all exactly the same. We don't want any differences. Further, I had mentioned the fonts. Here's the font, this should be embedded. There's our registration block. Here's the violet that is an issue. We don't have any technical colors, how to cut this. So we have all these things that need to happen to this. Generally, you would do that manually. However, if you have Workflow Plus, you don't need to. We can use what is called a fix-up chain. For the purpose of this webinar, I have created a fix-up chain. And it's going to include the following fix-ups. It's going to embed the missing fonts. It's going to convert fonts to outlines. It's going to derive the geometry, from the crop marks. We're going to know where we are supposed to cut this. We'll convert registration colors, those 100, 100, 100, 100 blacks. Set the black objects to knockouts, convert pure blacks to rich blacks. So we're going to make anything that was just 100% black and no other colors. We're going to convert that to a rich black so everything matches and everything looks perfect. We'll rename the spot colors on that violet or other colors. We'll create our bleeds and we'll add our dye lines. I'll apply this to the selection. And the nice thing about, and we're going to get into this in really good detail here in a moment, is the different items in this fix-up chain. There are over 100 different individual fix-ups that we can take, and we can put them in whatever sequence we want in order to make products just flow directly through the system so that we're not doing this manually. Everything will just come through. So here, that job that we had started with, you'll see that the information at the bottom is gone now. And that looks good. We can also scroll down and we can see, let's just zoom in on this. We'll take a little closer look at it. And we'll look at those blacks that we knew were going to be an issue. And so now we see these blacks are going to print exactly the same. It makes it so much faster, so much easier. And again, you can go in manually and try and catch all of this. But if you have a system, I mean, wouldn't it make more sense? Wouldn't it be nice if whenever files came in, it just went through an automated system and it automatically caught those errors? In fact, whenever we originally pulled this up, it brought up errors. It showed errors and warnings. Those have now been corrected thanks to our fix-up chain. Further, we have here, we can see exactly what step things are in the process. So we have all the information right there. Scrolling down a little further, we can see that the fonts, you'll see it's no fonts available. That's because we have converted the fonts to outlines. That registration black is gone. The violet, there was just some violet color they had made up. We have swapped that to a Pantone violet, so it's going to properly output. We have the dye line that means that it's not only ready to print, this file is also ready to cut. This can be set automatically to your Zuns, to your Kongsbergs. So this has all been completely automated, where we would be trying to catch these different issues, trying to catch this manually. We don't have to do that. We can set up fix-up chains to do such things. So let's take a look at those fix-up chains. We'll take a look first at the one that we did for this and break this one down. So here you can see we have embedded the missing fonts, converted the fonts to outlines, and some of these have the ability to give some further information. You can modify these a little more. It's not just a yes, no. It's not just a check. We can say derive page geometry from crop marks. So here, this is how we're going to determine, okay, where should this cut path be laid down? If we wanted to, we could expand that, make it a little wider, or we could choke it and make it a little more inside. We can do that with other items on here as well. Rename spot color. So on this one, we knew the customer was going to name this violet. But we knew they actually wanted a Pantone violet. So you have customers that are naming things incorrectly, you can have the system automatically check for that and say, if they're calling it an orange, we know they don't really want orange, they want 021 Pantone orange. It will automatically swap out the colors. Further, we'll take a look at the mirroring, and we can do the bleeds any number of ways. We'll get into that a little more here in a moment. But here we can spec out and say, okay, this is going to be, this is this amount of bleed. It's going to be this amount of bleed on the top and on the bottom. However, if we, and left and right, if we wanted to, we could change that and say, okay, we just want to bleed on the top, bleed on the bottom. You may do that for pull pockets, that type of thing. Additionally, it will add a die line to the image box. This is how we get our cut paths, and that will be automatically sent over again to the Zund or to Kongsberg, to your cutters, whatever your cutting device may be. We have that all handled. So these are the fix-ups that we used for this webinar. However, again, we have over 100 different fix-ups. I'm going to switch this to just show my favorites. And I'm going to go into a few of my very favorites and kind of talk a little bit about some of the power that the system has, some of these items that you can automate. Let's say we have the die line in there, and that's great, but what if we needed a second die line? What if we needed a die line for creasing, for cutting? We have the ability to add additional die lines so that it handles that as well. So that may be very handy if you're doing corrugated work. You have the ability to add that on the fly. Another is add captions. As work goes through the facility, maybe you want to add certain text. That is able to be added. That is also a variable that you can add. So it makes it very helpful as your work is going through the facility to very quickly be able to identify what exactly is this specific job. Grommets, drill holes, again, very powerful. We can set the grommets by distance. We can say this is where they are to be. This is how many there are to be. We can choose what the circumference is. So if you're doing something for grommets, it may be one thing. For drill holes, it may be something entirely different. We want to change the width of the drill hole, the height of the drill hole. We have the ability to handle that. I had mentioned pull pockets earlier. That's actually one of my favorite ones. I did this one whenever we did the very first demo, I think. And excuse me, this is great because you have one of those things where the banner needs to fold over onto itself. It needs to create a second page. With this, workflow can create those automatically for you. It's not something where we need to spend time in Illustrator. We can, and I am not going to be able to show everything. It would take me, this webinar would be like 6 hours if I tried to show everything. But just to give you an idea, you can do CMYK color correction. So if okay, these certain files always need to go through this modification, you have the ability to add that as a fix-up as well. And again, these fix-ups stack on top of each other, and you put them in whatever order you want. As you can see, they're very easy to add. They're very easy to modify. It just makes it easy. We'll take a look at bleeds. And you can see we can, create bleeds by mirroring, upscaling. You can do pixel bleeds. There's all types of different things. You can do a color bleed. You can create bleeds on irregular shapes. So let's say someone sends you a circle, they don't put anything with it, no crop marks or anything. You could literally create the bleed on that and generate a cut path on that as well. Some other crazy ones. Whenever I saw this, I was like, really? It does this? Yes, it does that. It actually has optical character recognition. So someone sends in a job, it is not set as text. We do have the ability to come in and pull that out, pull that information out as well. Again, it's so flexible. It's so powerful. Maybe someone sends you in a document and they have added empty pages. I have seen that before on PDF files. Why do you send this? We don't know. But you can have this automatically run this on every job that comes through and just say, if there are any empty pages, just remove them. We don't need them. Same thing with existing bleed. Maybe a customer has set up something and they have done their own bleeds. You don't want that. You want to create your own bleed. We have the ability to do that as well. Scaling is another big one. Sometimes customers will send in things and they have created a scale factor, and you don't want that. You have the ability to remove it, or you have the ability to add it. So let's say a customer sends in something and it is set at a 1 to 10 ratio. So we need to scale that up. You can have the system automatically scale it for you. It's nothing where you need to have someone else working on this. It automatically will do it. You can set those functions in, you can set those fix-ups in, and it will allow you to do that. You can also upscale image resolution. I'm just scratching the surface. It really is, as we go through this, there are so many different things that you can add and so many different fix-ups that you can put in different alignments, different order. It can change an entire company. I saw it myself. We were looking when we first got workflow, we were like, man, if we can get like 50% of the orders to automatically run through this, so we're not spending time in Illustrator, not spending time in InDesign. And I know we got over 90%. We're just flying directly through Workflow Plus, hitting fix up chains, and correcting those common errors and some uncommon errors that are coming through the system. So again, all of this is automatable. Imagine those files coming in from your e-commerce platform or Lyft ERP or however you're feeding workflow. That can all be automated. So your files are coming in, fix-ups are running, everything is then directly on the RIP because again, workflow is the RIP. So we can print directly from here as well. It is touch-free ordering from the order to the press. I know we say, pixel to output, and I always thought, well, that's cute, but it's absolute fact. It can happen, and we have the ability to integrate this into your company, and we would love the opportunity to do so. This is the power of Durst software. You're gaining huge efficiencies from beginning to end. I can't speak highly of it enough. And just want to say thank you for everyone coming and joining us on the webinar today and the webinars we've had the last few weeks. We will be having our next session. It will be May 9th. That will be how to automate printing automation. And that's going to be a really, really interesting webinar. I urge everyone to come back and join us for that. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Just email us at softwaresolutions@durst-group.com. That's durst-group.com. And we really want to urge you to come to FESPA. Meet with us there. Let us show you exactly how the software works. Let us show you the incredible equipment we will have on display there. It's going to be a wonderful time. We're also going to be it's just going to be FESPA. It will be very interesting, and you will not regret going. That I promise you. So I want to thank you again. Appreciate everyone being on the call with us today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.